My wife used to love this park very, very much. We used to take long, long walks along these shores in the trails of this park. We used to talk about our plans for the future. We used to make up dreams in our minds and share them together, share them to each other. They were dreams and plans that we were sure they were going to happen. But at the end, they never did. She died 15 months ago. And I was left completely heartbroken and alone with nobody around. And a lot of people trying to help doing the wrong thing. Hello. I'm the goth punk death doula. And today I'd like to discuss a little bit about the things people that are close to a person grieving and mourning should do and must never do and must never attempt. The reason why I'm approaching this topic, the reason why I'm tackling it today, is because our society is not ready to help people in grief. We are not ready. It doesn't matter that we have local hospices. It doesn't matter that we have programs, grieving groups, psychological therapies, psychiatric counseling and medication. We are simply not ready. People as close as relatives, such as siblings, parents, and other close relatives, sometimes do and say things that at the end do much more harm than recovery to the person. People have the tendency to say things like, hey, it's time to move on. Or even worse, the one that's typical. Hey, your wife would not like to see you sad. Your wife would like to see you happy and moving on. Things like, hey, you have to let her go. Come on, man, let her go. Carry on with your life. Things like, hey man, Chin up. Life is beautiful. Look where you are. What a beautiful afternoon. What a beautiful park you are in. Look at the ocean. Why don't you swim the way you used to do it? Some people do the infamous ghosting. They don't even know how to react towards the pain and the misfortune of the loss of the person grieving. Some people simply disappear and never talk to the person again, including blocking them, blocking us from social media, ignoring us, never inviting us again to weekly gatherings or events that we used to be part of. Some other people go even farther and they say, you should take therapy. Oh, I took therapy and believe me, it works. You should too. People have the tendency to utter suggestions, opinions, recommendations. People tend to become counselors without even having any clue of what they are saying. So those are some of the things that people must never attempt to do to try to help a person grieving. There is also a very high percentage of hypocrisy. But all of this is because of ignorance, because of fear, because as a matter of fact, I believe that every person on this earth suffers some kind of grief, old or new. So we don't really know how to deal with that. There is just one thing that people need to understand. There is just one thing that people should do to help a person in grief. Just one. Provide company. Nothing else. Nothing of what I said before should be ever attempted to help. And it's just one thing. This is the magic wand. This is the magic formula. Just provide company with love and real empathy. There is no timetable. There is no schedule. There is no timeline about grief and what the person should do about his or her grief. Grief can last as long as decades. And as a matter of fact, grief never ends. And that is key if we want to understand how to deal with grief in our society. Some people might try to leave things behind, and in the case of widows and widowers, get married again, as an example. But if they do it trying to completely block and pretending forget about their grief, sooner or later that grief is going to accumulate inside and is going to backfire with nasty consequences, such as domestic violence, alcoholism, addictions, or divorce. Same with everybody else. If we don't acknowledge our own grief, if we don't recognize that grief will last a lifetime, and we are going to adapt to it little by little and at our own pace, if we don't understand that key facts, we are always going to be traumatized, and the PTSD, the chronic depression, will never let us live our lives in peace. Because at the end, when we are grieving, the most important, the most essential principle is that we must gain and reach peace in our lives. Everything and anything else don't matter anymore. I am the goth punk doula. See you next time.